Welcome everyone to today's SmartCrowd webinar, where we will be dissecting the Dubai real estate market. We've got a jam-packed agenda today, where we're going to be answering the big question, will the bubble burst? We'll be looking at data, we'll be looking at the trends in the market, and we'll be coming up with some investment strategies for the future. We'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions and have them answered live today. And stick around, because we'll be dropping a SmartCrowd webinar bonus midway through the webinar today. So for introductions, I'm Riz Ahmed, CEO of SmartCrowd, the UAE's #1 real estate crowdfunding platform. And today I'm joined by our special guest, Ozan from Reidin, the Dubai's #1 data analytics firm. So Ozan, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone at home?
Thank you very much, Riz, for having me. This is the third time we have been doing these webinars, especially right after the COVID. And it's like a pleasure to be with you guys. At Reidin, if I have to give you some brief introduction, at Reidin, we do data and location analytics, where we collect data from government agencies, private companies. Even we have dedicated field research team collect the data all over from the city, and we convert the information into analytics. Wherever you see coordinate information, that is in our focus. So we created complex systems and provide the relevant data to the different sectors where our clients, they include banks, developers, real estate agents, as well as retailers.
Great. So we've at SmartCrowd funded over 150 properties, and we're big users of your data. So we know what you can do and how valuable that data is and accurate that data is. We've got people joining from 15 different countries, and some people might be new to Dubai. So I guess the question we can start off with is, why is Dubai unique? For me, I've been coming to Dubai for 20 years now. For me, Dubai is unique because it's got a 90% expat community from all around the world, from the far east to the far west. There's a lot of construction happening, not as much as 20 years ago, but there's so much construction happening, and a lot of the real estate is off plan, which might be new to, for example, I'm from the UK. We don't really have that concept. We have a lot of housing stock, and people generally buy and sell ready-made properties. There's a lot of cash transactions that happen. It's a real melting pot. But can you tell me in your own words why Dubai is unique in the whole world, really?
First of all, when you say most of the people, they already know that Dubai for the last 20 to 25 years. So it's a new city. There is a opportunity to build the city from the scratch. And this has been done when we look at it. Even though, there are shakes happen in the last 20 years, we have seen that government, they were able to adopt the new strategies. They are able to adopt the new kind of investors. And not only from the real estate perspective, but when we look at what kind of people they live here, they are not just coming here for the real estate, right? Dubai became a financial center. And when you look at the strategic location, it is actually kind of a bridge between Europe, Asia, and Africa. And apart from that, logistic wise, warehousing wise, it is providing great services. Actually, I can say Dubai, it's a great service city. When it comes to the real estate market, we are going to deep dive on it more. But as a fundamental, when starting of 2000s, there was an era of creating emerging countries, right, or emerging cities, and Dubai was one of them. Basically, these are BRIC as well as Central Eastern Europe. But what Dubai achieved, it was much better way than the rest, where they it was able to provide location for the families, location for the professionals, where it is attracting the investors as well with the interesting real estate, investment options.
No, it's very interesting because before SmartCrowd, in a previous life, I was CFO of GEMS Education, which is the largest school group in Dubai. And I know this education system here is very unique in an emerging economy, right? And we have so many people moving here with their families and settling down here. So from that perspective, a bit of history about Dubai. You touched on it when you were just speaking now, but there's been these bubbles, and we've called this on purpose, will the bubble burst? Because there's a perception that Dubai has these big bubbles and then they burst and there's a big down, then it always comes back up.
Yeah.
Right. We've had a couple of them caused by different reasons. And now we've seen that the market's moved, it's quite hot in terms of property prices have been steadily increased since COVID. A lot of people have moved here. So what's the data telling us? What's the information telling us? You're the expert. Let us know your thoughts.
Basically, real estate markets, when we look at the history of Dubai, as well as even like other cities, other developed cities, there are cycles on it. So these cycles, they have 4 distinctive phases.
Okay.
Expansion,
right.
And then oversupply, then recession, then recovery.
Okay.
Actually, I can call the recovery phase as the first phase as well. Right. Currently we are in the 3rd cycle.
Okay.
The first cycle started in 2002 and ended in 2012.
Okay.
And the second cycle started in 2012 and ended in 2020.
Yeah.
And currently we are in the 3rd cycle. As I mentioned, like the cycle starts with the rapid recovery, especially when we look at the prices between let's say 2021 to 2023. There was a rapid increase, and currently we are in the phase of expansion. We see lots of developers, they are coming into market, launching new units. First of all, like we have to understand, like these cycles, they have a starting point and ending point. So that's why I don't want to say there is a bubble, but I still call it rapid growth. We will be able to see in the coming years if it's going to be if it was a bubble.
Okay. So that's really interesting, right? Because again, for those people that aren't familiar with Dubai, it's not. So in the last few months, I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Ho Chi Minh City, I've been to Cape Town in South Africa, and you see a lot of these emerging economies when there's building, they either build up because there's not enough land, right? Dubai is definitely building up. You see all the towers, everyone sees the famous Burj Khalifa, etc. But Dubai actually builds out because around the city of Dubai, there's basically sand, there's basically desert. I was talking with someone earlier today around an area called Dubai Industrial Center, right? It's a whole piece of land that's just a bit further out from Dubai, but Dubai can keep expanding on land, basically. And again, the unique thing about Dubai is it can keep expanding on the sea. So we have Palm Jumeirah, which is the most famous one, and we've seen a few other, islands being created and then inhabited. Thousands of people live on Palm Jumeirah now. There's Palm Jebel Ali, which is just launched as well, and a lot of people are moving there. So I guess one of the key questions is, who's buying all these apartments? Who's coming here? Because what I'm seeing from what I saw 20 years ago, and then I came again 10 years ago when I basically moved to Dubai, is the population's increased, right? And I used to see that data a lot when I worked at GEMS Education, because we would see people enrolling their children in school and then keeping them there for a longer period of time, right? So we're seeing that the populations are increasing. COVID actually increased it even further. But who's coming? And the reason I'm asking is, someone said to me the other day, hey, it's a lot of Russians that are moving here, right? But we meet all different types of people. So can you talk to us a little bit about who's providing this cash that's going into buying properties? And are they end users or are they investors?
It's a nice question. First of all, Dubai's population has been increasing around 5% every year. And more than the increase, actually, there is a transition happening. This transition is like, if you ask me what was the population in 2014, 2013, yes, the population was like 2.6, 2.7 million. However, there were around 700, 800,000 blue-collar workers was the part of the population. But currently, when we look at the population, it is 3.6 million, if I'm not wrong, according to the latest data.
Growing day by day.
Yeah, growing day by day. And still, the majority is the white-collar population, which is in the daily life, which, they are coming, they are investing, they are, being part of the social life. As an investor, investment portfolio on the real estate, Dubai is attractive think that both sides, like, international investors as well as the local investors.
Okay.
Local investors, basically, since like 2021, we see like increase in the home ownership, but they also invest in the off-plan. International investors, I mean, when we look at the Dubai, like in terms of returns, it is one of the best city.
Yeah.
So this is coupled with the capital appreciation, right? So we see like many, I don't want to call it like, this way, but like, let's say rich guys, they are
all girls.
Yeah, that's right. Their appetite is like, wide open.
Yeah.
And since like, developers, they know this, I mean, they keep launching the new projects, as you mentioned, like even in the Jebel Ali Island, Palm Jebel Ali. Normally we were not like, expecting, but I know the full master plan of Dubai, which was created in back in 2004. Actually, Dubai is following the same path.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that you talk about the master plan, right? Because Dubai is, if people don't know, it's run by Sheikh Mohammed, His Excellency, and they have this master plan. So they have these targets where they say by 2040 we want to be the happiest place in the world, for example, right? Or by 2047 we want to have this much population, right? So there are strategic plans, and then they introduce policies to make sure those plans happen. So something that I've benefited from, and I think you've also benefited from, is the 10-year golden visa, which basically keeps you in Dubai longer, because now you're not having to renew your visa every 2 years, and it's not necessarily linked to your work. What I'm seeing in the market when I'm just speaking to people, meeting people, and again, we have thousands of investors at SmartCrowd, so we get to meet a lot of people and discuss with them. A lot of people seem to be saying, you know what, especially how Dubai handled COVID and post that as well, Dubai is a great place to live. So they're coming in here with their investor hat on, but they're then deciding, actually, you know what, I'll have a second home here, or actually, I'll relocate here. Is that what the data is telling us as well? Or are we seeing still actually there's a huge amount of institutional, individual, high net worths, or even, middle class, mass affluent that are saying, do you know what, I want a piece of Dubai, I want to invest. I want to invest maybe, whatever, buy a studio apartment. And is that pushing up the demand?
Basically, in terms of like, investments, we have to differentiate like, the segments, such as like, we have ultra luxury segment, luxury segment, or mid to high segment, and the low segment. Basically, I don't see like, much, low segment in the city. But investors, international investors, they are more like, focusing on the ultra luxury segment, where the most of the developments they are on the seaside. Mid to high, this is like, I call it like, mix type of investors, like, they're investing there. And end users, they are more on the mid market, where they came and they, live out here.
Coming with families, etc.
I have an addition, like, on you for the, government entities, like, as I mentioned, like, Dubai master plan, it was already there. It's not like, unplanned city. It is very well planned. But the best side is, according to the economic conditions, how quickly you're able to, change the strategies, right? Dubai, it's a place where it's able to benefit from the unrest of the rest of the world, right? During the COVID times, I mean, we see like, while all the countries, they were locking down for a year. For Dubai, I think it was maximum 3 months.
We had about 3 weeks of like proper lockdown. And it was basically open with the wear a mask, and you can go, because we were buying properties then, SmartCrowd, right? And we would go with masks and, inspect properties, and everything was social distancing. But Dubai was alive. I was traveling to the UK quite often then. I have to go to the UK, quarantine for 10 days. You weren't allowed out, blah, blah, blah.
Even sometimes you had to change the country, right? I mean, you have to stay in a certain country before.
The first time I went to the UK, because they weren't allowing anyone to travel inside, I had to go to Barcelona first for 2 weeks before I went to the UK. But even a year after COVID, there were still heavy restrictions. In Dubai, life was normal. And I saw a lot of people start moving there. I had 2 friends from India, quite wealthy friends, successful business people. And they basically moved to Dubai. They said, look, there's too much unrest, too many things going on. I'm going to move to Dubai.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's become a trend now, right? Now we're post-COVID, we've gone past COVID. And I guess this is the real question, right? The concept of bubble. So we were a bit provocative in our question today, right? Will the bubble burst? But our question is, are we actually in a bubble? Because what are the nascent features of a bubble, right? It's about to
look, in order to understand that if we are in a bubble, we have to see, like, what is supporting the price increase.
Yes.
We see huge demand where it is reflected on the transactions, right? The transactions has been increasing, like, exponentially. If I remember correctly, like 2020 Q1, 3,000 transactions. 2021,
so that was before COVID, right? That was going into COVID. Actually, COVID started middle of March.
Just before the COVID, you're right. COVID, 1 year after, we saw like 7,000, 8,000 transactions. The year after, rapidly, like 15, 16, and currently we are on the 30 to 35,000 transactions per quarter. It's not only one side, by the way. I mean, we see the transaction in both off-plan as well as ready. The off-plan market, it is generally like, it can be called as like, bullish market, where the investors, they mainly focus on the
future, right? Yeah, like the future potential.
Future, let's say, premiums, future premium. But on the other side, this is like, where I believe it is the most important part. Having the ready property market transactions actually shows how the market is like, getting mature.
Of course,
right? Of course, still we are not there, like like New York, London, etc. It's because of the city is it's a new city. So still, like, as you said, like, we have to see more constructions to attract, like, more investors, bring more population. But I think it is very important to see the secondary market transactions as well.
So let me ask you a question, right? No one can predict what's going to happen in 10 years. They can't predict in the UK. They can't predict in Asia. They can't predict in Dubai. So we're not unique in that way. No one can predict. Otherwise, we all be, multi-millionaires predicting the future of property markets. But short term, we can see, right? Short to medium term, we can see the transactions, and we can see, are they slowing down? Are they not? I was with the CEO of a bank in the UAE, probably about 3-4 months ago. And I asked him, I said, what are you seeing? Because again, similar to schools, you see data, they get data because they see people depositing cash, bringing cash from abroad for property purchases. And he said, we're in a very strong position because the amount of cash that they're holding for property purchases in the short term, right? What are we seeing in the short term? Are we seeing a slowdown? Are we seeing it plateau a little bit? I feel like we're not seeing anything go back in price. We're actually seeing either, is it just slowing down? So it's still increasing, it's slowing down? Is it flattening out, or is it actually still going? Is it quite bullish?
To be honest,
let's talk about ready properties first.
Sure. Yeah. If you ask me this question in the start of the year, starting of the 2024, I would say continue an increase, but at a lower pace. However, we were wrong. In the first quarter of 2024, we saw a 6% increase in the sales price. Basically, our expectation was around 12 to 15% this year, but most probably it's going to be another 20%.
Wow.
So this is the short term.
So you're quite conservative, it looks like.
20%, I don't know if it is conservative for you. Wow.
No, your prediction was like 12, 15%.
Yeah. That's right. Look, since we collect the different data sets, I mean, we collect the supply, which is getting into the market. We collect the projects, the launches, transactional activity, and we are able to do it like, per area basis. So we are able to correlate the different data sets. And it's not just like, me saying that, even the data, says that. By the end of this year, if we go at the same pace, probably, as I mentioned, like we will see like 20%. But let's say in a worst case scenario, in case like the transactional activity goes down, let's say 10 to 20%, or number of launches, which is very key factor after 2 years, not like for the current market. Then we are going to have the stagnancy, starting in the coming term. But as per our data, currently we don't see any stabilization yet.
Okay, fine. Okay, interesting. So let me just take a moment here to, again, thank you so far. We're going to be moving to Q&A right now. But before I do, I did promise the people at home a little SmartCrowd goodie, right? So we'll be sharing a webinar bonus with you all. If you go to smartcrowd.ae and register, most of you are already members. You can use the promo code May29 and you'll get 3% cash back. And now let me take 30 seconds just to tell people at home who are not familiar with SmartCrowd what SmartCrowd's all about. SmartCrowd is, like I mentioned at the beginning, Dubai's #1 real estate crowdfunding platform. We're regulated by the DFSA, fully digital, transparent, hassle-free, and we have a proven track record. We have the lowest fees in the market, but I think the key thing is, what's the track record? So we've just completed our 25th exits. We had a big celebration about that. Our 25th exit returned over 100% ROI. The one 2 months ago, our 24th exit delivered a 75% return on investment.
It's not only the investment, the exits are also
exactly,
important, right?
You see it through the yields.
The capitalization,
exactly.
Right?
So we see the yields. The yields have been strong, but to be honest, it's all in the exit, right? It's all in what price are you going to get. So we've had our 25th exit. On average, we're returning within a whole period of 3 years, 40% plus, 40 to 50% ROIs, and 16% annualized returns. That's net of all fees. We've returned huge amounts of rental income back to investors. So it's a mix between good yields and a good exit. So let's move to the Q&A. Let me ask. So I've got a question myself, but I'm hoping that's going to be answered through the Q&A. It's about opportunities that you see in the market. You're a data guru, so let's see that. But let's see if someone asks from the questions. So question number 1: what advice would you give to investors looking to buy in property in Dubai in terms of build and construction quality? I've seen relatively new buildings in bad shape compared to European quality, and I would be nervous to invest my money without being confident in the lifespan. I think this is a really important question, right? Because just a few weeks ago, we had the floods in Dubai, like once in a lifetime level of floods in Dubai, right? And I think that showed some of the quality or the quality differentials. In the UK, we have buildings that are 400-500 years old, right? And they're solid. In Dubai, there is this question around, is it the right developer? What is the right quality? How old are the buildings, right? And you don't really know when something's new, how well it's going to hold up. What's your view? What's your advice to
since you started with the rain? Rain was mainly affecting the infrastructure.
Yep.
And I have positive and negative feedback there. The negative, let me start with negative. Yes, I mean there is no irrigation system.
Yep.
So that's why it happened. But on the positive side, I have been living in Dubai for the last 10 years, and I never seen there is a asphalt changing, right? So even though sometimes the temperature hits 60 degrees, and I never seen any change, any alterations, etc. When it comes to the construction quality, it's a good question. There are good quality communities, projects, and mediocre and bad quality as well. Key here is of course the developers. Apart from that, what I advise, this is generally happening when you're handing over the property, but you can find a snagging company. Go through it. And then advice. Otherwise, before if you're a developer, before hitting the ground, I mean, everything is it has to be shared with the government authorities.
Of course, So I think the government's quite strict here in terms of the build quality. I did an extension recently, and we had government municipality individuals coming and visiting all the time, looking at the build quality, right? So I think that's key, and that's something that we actually wrestle with a lot. So every time we put a property on SmartCrowd, we've reviewed on average 32 properties, and build quality is one of the key things that we look for, right? How old is the building, and how well is it holding up, right? Especially after the rains, we were visiting a lot of buildings. Alhamdulillah, after we've done 150 properties so far, 25 exits, over 100 properties, and we didn't have any issues from the rains in our properties, but we do know in some areas there were issues. But definitely, I think there's a really good question there. I'll just take the next one quickly. It's a question around SmartCrowd asking if we're Sharia compliant. So we are Sharia compliant. And the second sub-question to that is, do we have a Sharia compliant certificate? So we're actually in the process with an accredited body of receiving the formal Sharia compliant certificate. But our model is very simple. It's the same thing as someone buying a property with cash, right? We buy a property, we crowdfund it, all equity, no debt, no interest. We then manage the property, we hold it, and then we sell it on behalf of investors using a voting system when they decide how to when to sell and how much to sell for. So that's a question for SmartCrowd. Let's go back onto questions for you. So there's a lot of buzz around subleasing in Dubai. Do you have any opinion? Do you have any opinion on the future of subleasing in the city? So subleasing in general, what was your thoughts?
Subleasing, actually, it is not permitted in Dubai. But if you're considering like, short-term rentals,
yeah.
Yes, you can do that through there are companies out which they do it for yourself.
Yeah.
However, I recommend you have to be careful with the location of the property.
Yeah.
So if it's in a attractional place like Marina, downtown, I mean, you will be able to generate the income. However, if you try to do it in Dubai land area where it is a family oriented area, you may get with very reduced income.
Yeah, I think there's some people that do subleasing it's a bit of a gray area, right? How to do it and whether it's legal or not. But definitely the holiday homes, I think so. We have all of our holiday homes with a company called Haven, HAVN. And they've given us, we've used 5 or 6 in the past, and we've just narrowed down to them because they're the best, right? And I think the key thing what someone needs to understand from a holiday home situation is Dubai, because of the weather, right? You're going to get these lows in the summer, and then you have a massive jump in September, October, November, all the way to March, April, right? So when you're planning yourself, if, for example, you've taken a mortgage and you've got a property and you're putting on for a holiday home, yourself, that is, then be careful that the income it's a good income that you can get from depending on which area you go to, right? But it's sporadic. So it'll go through these lows and highs depending on the season in Dubai. Next question, let's go to it. What about the macro? Very high consumer debt and potential debt crisis. How would that affect prices here, considering that the dollar is pegged? So again, one of the unique things about Dubai, the dirham, the AED is pegged to the dollar, right? So we have complete visibility on that exchange rate, right? It's 3.6725 for those that aren't aware. I think this debt question was a big one, right? Government debt and personal debt back in 2008. You saw a lot of people leaving the country with unpaid debts. There was issues around kind of government debts that were resolved. What are you seeing? Do you have any data on this around consumer debt? Potential debt crisis?
I don't have the data, to be honest. But on a macro level, like we know that nowadays all the countries, they are interconnected with each other, right? Just expecting a debt crisis in this part of the world where still there is an oil which is it's not maybe 100% utilized. By the way, for the Dubai, it's the income generation from the petrol, it's only 3 to 4% of the
so that's
GDP.
Something, right? A lot of people think, oh, Dubai is on oil, right? But Dubai doesn't have much oil.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. We have been tracking the news from the US, from China, from European markets, and there is an optimism, there. Especially Fed is expecting that to be, lowering down the interest rates. Actually, in the beginning of the year, it was the expectation was 2 points, but ultimately now it is going to be 1 point. So it is lower than the expected. However, the rates, it's going to affect the investments globally.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, right? Because as I mentioned at the beginning, Dubai, most transactions in Dubai happen through cash transactions. So in the UK, where I'm from, you saw that interest rates start increasing, the number of defaults start increasing. People can afford their mortgages. In Dubai, again, you have a lot of cash. So from a real estate perspective, changes in interest rates don't have a big impact. They have some level of impact, but not a huge one, right?
Government, authorities, they have been taking some actions there already. For example, for the mortgages, nowadays you can maximum get 80-85% of the property value. It's not 100%. Apart from that, especially if the property is under construction, if you're investing in new investment, there is an escrow account where developer cannot just take the money and run away anymore. I think most of the questions coming from the 2008 era. So Dubai is not Dubai is not a small kid anymore. There is a maturity in the market, and when the crisis happened back in 2008,
Yeah.
there were around 200,000 ready units, and 200 were under construction.
Okay.
Now we have 800,000 units available.
4 times more.
Yeah, 4 times more, and 200,000 under construction.
Okay.
Population-wise, back then the population was like 1.2, 1.3 million. Now it is 3.6 million.
That mix is changing more from
exactly.
blue collar to white collar workers, right?
Yeah, that's right. So market is much more mature now. We are not expecting like, you know, these kind of fluctuations, like, you know.
So people ask me for my prediction all the time, right? Like, do you think Dubai is, and that's why we did this webinar, right?
Yeah.
Like, is there a bubble? Is it going to burst, etc.? And I kind of give a similar answer where I say, look, Dubai is such a big place now. Before you had, for example, there was Marina, right?
Yeah.
And a few other places around it. You had Sheikh Zayed Road. Then downtown came Burj Khalifa, etc. And every year there's new developments. So parts of Dubai that you thought were far out, actually now part of the main city. So we might see, for example, in the years to come, some area go down in price, but at the same time, another area go up in price. So it's not small enough that the whole place is going down or the whole place is always going up. You're going to see differences in, you know, where there's an infrastructure. The metro line is going. We've heard about the airport, the airport in near Mar South.
You're very right. The price increase started with the horizontal living, right?
Exactly.
Villas. And then, like, you know, luxury market. Then spread to the mid to the high segment. You're like, it's I mean, it is very like right to say that it's not just how to say one investment group. It is like, you know, prices you know, going up, and even we see this like, you know, on the sales and rental prices as well. Initially everything started with sales prices, then brought the rentals up. Lately we see like, you know, vice versa, rental prices are going up, and now it is, you know, pushing the sales prices up.
I think this is an important kind of topic to just, if I give you my personal experience. So before I became CEO of SmartCrowd, I was a customer of SmartCrowd. I didn't start the company. I'm not the founder of the company. And the reason I was about to buy an apartment, an investment apartment, and I spoke to the founder of SmartCrowd, and he said, listen, take that money and spread it, diversify your risk, because that's the key, right? This one property, something might happen to it. But if you spread that across 10, 15 different properties and take smaller fractional ownership, you're spreading your risk and spreading your returns, right? So we've got some more questions, Ozan. So some are for me, I'll just cover them off quickly. So question is, why is SmartCrowd not listing villas as investments? We do. So our 25th exit was actually a villa. It was a villa in Al Waha. We bought the villa for 760,000 dirhams. We exited it at more than 1.6 million dirhams, right?
Wow.
So we got a great return, and actually a really good investment thesis in terms of the yield there as well. The other question was around holiday homes, which I touched on before. So for holiday homes, we work with Haven Holiday Homes, HAVN Holiday Homes, and the reason I like working with them is they tell me very honestly, like, in this area, you're better off going long term, right? And that is the thing. It's not always the best decision to go with a holiday home company. It depends on your area, and it depends also what time of the year, right? So that would be my my kind of 2 cents on holiday homes. Can someone touch on the affordability of homes? It seems with all the increase in property values, the mid-salary family are completely priced out. How is it sustainable going forward? So I think, again, people maybe not familiar with Dubai. Dubai, you pay for your school fees if you've got kids. You pay for your, you know, your company usually provides medical insurance, is paid insurance. There's no taxes, which is a massive draw for people to come to Dubai. But there's a lot of these costs, right? There's a cost of living is not low. I wouldn't say it's like what it was when I came 20 years ago.
You don't pay tax.
You don't pay tax.
Cost of living is high.
Right? There's indirect taxes, let's call it, right? They introduced VAT. The next coming soon is corporation tax. So let's say mid-sized families, right? So mom, dad, 2 kids, they got to put their 2 kids in school. They just moved to Dubai. What are you thinking in terms of, because rents are also high, right? Rents are high, and they're consistently high and been increasing. When I came in 2015, rents were going lower and lower and lower before COVID. Now they're going higher and higher and higher. So what do you think? Do you think the affordability is an issue in Dubai right now?
I agree with the comment that you mentioned. Basically, affordability, it's a big question. That's right. And the perception is like, unfortunately, it is like, different for, for everyone. I believe like, there should be some like, steps like, taken as well. However, like fortunately, unfortunately, the developers they have to adapt to the market, like what market needs,
Demand,
right?
right? You have to meet the demand.
demand.
Yeah, supply.
So
that's one of the reasons they do
that's right.
the off-plan payment plans, right? So, but
yeah,
20%, 40% up front, and then you can pay later on. So a lot of people get into that, right?
Exactly.
Because of the affordability.
Exactly. And even like also like we have to define the what is affordable. Like 2 years ago, affordable market where the price per square foot should be around 500 to 700 dirham, right? Currently, affordable market is less than 1,000 dirham.
Yes.
So still, I believe there are some projects. Let's say in the peripheral areas of Dubai. Such as like Town Square, Arjan, Silicon
Those
Oasis.
areas are becoming more expensive,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they are getting expensive.
Town
That's correct.
Square a couple of years ago was seen as I don't want to say let's say affordable, right? And now it's expensive.
Yeah.
So and people also when they move to Dubai they have a certain idea of their situation. So for example, I know a family in London. In a small London's very expensive, right? Small house, come to Dubai, and they want a big villa. Right. And I'm like, but you were in a small house. But I think also there's a perception, right? You want to live a certain lifestyle in Dubai.
That's right. And when we look at like, international markets such as London, New York, Germany, and when we compare with Dubai prices are still lower. Yes.
Yeah, even in the luxury segment. So we look at villas in, for example, Jumeirah Islands and even other places that are not, I wouldn't say like the top ones like Palm, etc. But some of those, when you talk to investors, they're still saying, actually, this is very affordable compared to London, Germany, Hong Kong, Singapore, etc. Right? So let me just take this next question, Ozan. It's a question for SmartCrowd. Yeah. How does I'll give you a break from talking. Save you, you can grab a water or something. How does your platform differentiate itself from other platforms in the region? So SmartCrowd, as I mentioned, we're the first ones in the market, 2018. Actually, the regulation for crowdfunding real estate was created around SmartCrowd. The founders of SmartCrowd worked with the regulators here to come up with the framework. And it was when it launched, it was the first one in the Middle East, actually, real estate crowdfunding. And since then, we've done many properties. And when people ask me, okay, how do you differentiate yourself? I'll say we have the highest yields in the market. So you can check that. That's all data, right? Highest yields in the market, lowest fees in the market, no hidden fees. So again, when I tell people, look at when you're comparing fees, sometimes someone goes, hey, your competitor's charging less fees. I'm like, no. Go read it clearly, right? The terms and conditions, etc. And the last one is proven track record. So we've done 6-7 times more exits than anyone else, right? And we see that.
The main question should be like, how different you're from the REITs. Because when you invest in, I think, SmartCrowd, the benefits you directly like, you get it. It's not like the how you invest in REITs. And in terms of returns, I believe there should be quite different.
No, our returns are very good. I think the key thing. So I used to look at REITs a lot. So for those at home who aren't familiar, REITs are real estate investment trusts, basically. And what you do with a REIT, you put some money in, and they invest it for you in multiple different properties, right? Hey, you pick yourself. Oh, I like that property. I want to go for capital appreciation. That one's got a lower yield, but I'll go for the capital appreciation. This one's got a higher yield, and I'll go for that. This one's a holiday home. This is one long-term rental. So it allows you to almost tailor it to yourself. And that's where I think the diversification play is really important. I think I'm an investor, in general. I invest in a broad-based asset base, and I always look for diversification. So I never just put everything in all your eggs in one basket. Let's go to this question. This one's for you. How is Dubai real estate market different now compared to the last time the bubble burst?
I think we answered this question. The market is more mature. The fundamentals are there, and the government regulations are taking place. So yeah, I think the quick answer would be much more mature.
It's quite interesting, on this. So again, I've been here for a while now, coming in for 20 years, and I think now the government in the last few years, and I used to spend a lot of time with government officials with my previous role, less so now, but they've realized actually we want to keep people here longer, right? I used to see this data in the school data where you could see how long people were keeping their kids in school. So it started at 3 years, was moving to 4 years to 5 years. So you're seeing people are staying here longer. But I think the government is year in, year out, every
Mhm.
time, it was the golden visa,
Mhm.
but it was a bit harder to get. Then they made it a lot easier to get, right? And now you can get it on your property. Actually, SmartCrowd, with SmartCrowd investments, you can actually get your golden visa with SmartCrowd, right? We can apply for it with your investments. So let's see what the future brings. But the government's intimated that, listen, we're going to make it easier for you to get visas, stay here long term. I think that's part of it, because I was with a businessman who's moved over from India. He came to see me today, and straight away he's like, I got my 10-year golden visa, right?
Yeah.
That didn't happen before. You'd come and you need a job,
Yeah.
and a 2-year visa, and every 2 years you're going. Next question: How will the gaming and casino development plans in Abu Dhabi and RAK affect property / sale prices in Dubai? So again, for people that aren't aware, there is a plan. So Dubai as a UAE is made up of seven Emirates. One of those Emirates is Ras Al Khaimah, for short, RAK, and they'll be opening a casino in the near future, right? So I think this question is saying, Dubai is opening up to these kind of things, right? How is that going to affect Dubai? What's your thoughts?
My thought is like, I think it's going to affect positively. I don't see, RAK will go up and Dubai will go down. I don't like to do this kind of comparisons, because sometimes like whenever there is a new service, you have to look from the bigger picture. Because I get the similar question for Saudi as well. Saudi is opening up, neon cities there. How then the Dubai market will crash, etc. No, I mean, when you look at the region, they actually will support each other. Similar to development in the RAK. Ultimately, it's going to create another investment.
Basically, the cities, right? So Abu Dhabi is the capital of the UAE. Ras Al Khaimah is one of the smaller Emirates. Dubai is the second largest. But really, when I look at Dubai, like Dubai and Sharjah are like one city almost, right? A lot of people live in Sharjah and travel to Dubai, in and out of Dubai daily. Ras Al Khaimah is not far from Dubai. When I used to live in London, going from one side of London to the other takes you an hour and a half sometimes, right? Or 2 hours even if there's traffic. From here to Ras Al Khaimah is like an hour and a bit, right? So I think if there's something that's happening, and for example, in Ras Al Khaimah, so Ras Al Khaimah invested a lot in tourism for, there was this zip line, longest zip line, all these kind of activities. People come, they stay in Dubai, they'll go there, do what they want to do in Ras Al Khaimah, and then come back to Dubai, right? And we see a lot of people also, they like to live in Dubai, even if they have a job in Abu Dhabi, even if they have a job in Saudi Arabia, right? So again, for those at home that aren't familiar, there's a lot of things going on in Saudi Arabia, but a lot of people keep their families and they live in Dubai. They travel to Saudi Arabia 3-4 days a week, and they come back and they want to live in Dubai. Dubai seems to be the place I want to live. I want to be. I want to be part of the community, right?
Any developments within this region, it's going to positively affect the other cities. We have seen this during the World Cup in Qatar, right? I mean, the tourism, it was like there was
coming
a boom
in Dubai, right?
Coming in Dubai.
So Qatar is an hour or so. Little fun fact here: Qatar was originally going to be, I don't know if you know this, Qatar was going to be part of the UAE, and Bahrain, I believe. They're going to be nine cities, but Qatar World Cup happened there. We had so many people coming to Dubai, say spending 2 weeks in Dubai and flying out for the games to Qatar, and then flying back same day. Right? And Dubai has this infrastructure of planes, right? The Emirates, Fly Dubai, etc.
It was taking you in the morning and bringing back in the evening.
I did that for the final. I flew there and then came back.
You watched the final?
Yeah, I watched the final. I had crazy. Wow. I literally got tickets the night before, so it was crazy. But yeah, fly there, watch it, fly back. That's how close it is, right? It's a different country, but that's how close. And also, you can travel visa-free into these GCC countries. Here's another question for you. What can be the forecast for Dubai South? So Dubai South is a new area in Dubai, as Dubai International Airport is going to be going to close in 2030, and Al Maktoum International Airport will be operational. How will they elevate the prices there? So we've just got about 10 minutes left, so we'll just do, guys, get your questions in. We'll just do a couple more questions. But yeah, so tell us about this new news that came. I mean, we've all heard it since 10 years I've been here. New airport's going to be announced. New airport's going to be announced. I don't think the normal Dubai airport is going to be closed down, really. Yeah. I mean, the amount of traffic that's coming through the airports is crazy. But this new airport, what are you hearing? What do you think is going to impact going to be on Dubai South?
Ultimately, this change will happen. It is imminent because Dubai airport is now inside the city.
Oh yeah,
right. And it's a massive area. the Al Maktoum Airport, and there is a already like warehousing and logistics companies located there. So this is imminent, but if it's going to be completed by 2030, I'm not sure. When it comes to the real estate prices there, basically there are like big developers out there already.
Yes.
And there are ready communities like by MR, by Mac Developments. Apart from that, we saw community launches as well.
Yes.
Recent launch, it was by Azizi, I believe, and it's a massive big community. Definitely there will be a price appreciation there.
Do you think it's going to be over the long term? Someone said to me, so just again for the viewers at home that aren't that familiar with Dubai generally, they launch these communities, right?
Yeah.
The developer will announce, so downtown, the whole area, almost the whole area is developed by Emaar, by Burj Khalifa, etc. And then they're responsible for a lot of the infrastructure, the roads, etc. They deal with that. So that's what when we say community, that's what we're talking about. But do you think let me ask you, do you think I want to touch on this point around opportunities. Do you think that's a big opportunity? Someone asked me the other day, I said, listen, if your strategy, so everyone's got an investment, is long-term, then yes, for sure. If your strategy is invest and sell within 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know if you're gonna see the capital appreciation that you expect, right? What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I agree with you. I generally tell the same, real estate investment, it's a long-term investment.
Yes.
And basically, when you invest in off-plan, you're actually taking the risk of the development, right? That's why developer or the market, awards you with certain premiums. In a developed countries, this is generally between 15 to 20%. But for healthy investment, and this is also health for the city as well. It has to be considered long-term investment. 5 years, it's a long-term, by the way.
Long-term,
here in this part of the world, the average rental yields for the apartments, it's around 7.5%. For the villas, it is 5.8%.
Okay.
Of course, you have to think about the other factors as well, such as service charges and all.
I think the thing is with off-plan, which catches a lot of people out. So we don't do off-plan at SmartCrowd. But one of the things that catches people out, so I've got a friend who's bought in Talal Al Ghaf, right? So him and his family, they're renting a small apartment because they think we're gonna move into this one, and then it keeps getting delayed by 6 months. And the developer has in their contract, we can delay this up to 2 years and give you no.
Now it is cancelled, right?
No compensation, right? For 2 years. So this is the risk you kind of take with off-plan. I think off-plan you can be really lucky. But also there's these risks. So I think people should understand those risks.
We shouldn't be, scaring the audience. There is a certain, protections there, kind of escrow account.
No, definitely.
Definitely, you're going to get your investment back. But 6 years to 1 year in case of cancellation, this may happen, and this has to be written in the contract.
Yes, I think the protections in Dubai for investors, for even tenants, is really good. They really think about it. So this is more about thinking, can I double, triple my money on an off-plan, right? I think these are things you have to be a little bit careful about. We've got, how long we've got left? We've got 8 minutes left. We want to be strict on time. We know people have places to go. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We're getting people now from 17 different countries that have joined all around the globe, asking questions and listening to us. Let me quickly cover some of these SmartCrowd questions. How does SmartCrowd source properties? What do you guys look at when identifying if something is a good opportunity? So we actually spend a huge amount of time looking at properties, right? We have experts always in the market. They're not in the office. They're constantly going, inspecting properties, looking at properties.
You use Reidin service.
Yeah, we use Reidin service. So it actually starts with data. So we take data, we use a level of AI to identify opportunities, trends, etc. And then we have actual agents that go source properties, negotiate. And again, we'll look at over 30 properties before we finalize one, right? Because we've got to make sure that we're getting the right deal for our investors. So we spend a lot of time now. What do we look for? Again, if we have over 100-point checklist, some of them are simple, right? So, there's not been a fire, for example, or there's not been, the building is constructed in a certain way. But we do look at build quality. We look at the history of the building. We look at what's being built around it. So I'll give you an example. If you invested a few years ago in Forjan, you might have got a really good price because the metro was coming, right? But you have to wait. So you can get a really good one. That's how what we did with the Al Waha. When the founder of SmartCrowd called me 3 years ago about Waha, He called me. I was just a client then, and he said, Riz, Waha, we're buying it at 760. Do you want to put some money into it? I said, what is Waha? Where is that, right? But he knew, and that's why we delivered over 100% ROI on it, return on investment. So there's a lot of factors you got to look into, but I would start with data, looking at the data, looking at the building, looking at the history of the building, looking at the developer, looking at yields, and you can find a lot of this information out quite easily. I definitely recommend Reidin services. We use them a lot. Let me ask again the next question. How can you get a golden visa through SmartCrowd? So if you just contact SmartCrowd, our client relations team, you can contact Adnan, ADNAN, at smartcrowd.ae. We can walk you through how to get a golden visa through SmartCrowd. So
I think when the real estate investment reaches like 1 million dirham,
2 million dirhams, yeah.
The 1 million dirham, you get 5 years visa.
Green
and
visa.
2 million, it is 10 years.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So the minimum investment for property is 2 million dirhams, but we have a special benefit for SmartCrowd investors where if you've invested in, for example, however many properties, as soon as you reach that threshold, we go and we can apply for a golden visa on your behalf. So again, I think it's time for me just to remind everyone about our goodie, our SmartCrowd goodie. You can use a promo code May29, May29, as seen on your screen, and get a 3% cash back on your next investment with SmartCrowd. We have some great properties on there. Have a look, sign up. Contact us. Let us know if you have any questions. I think we're done for the session. It's been great. We're right on time.
Yeah,
Ozan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you everyone at home. We've had a great participation, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Take care. Thank you. Bye.